Hello, Libra friends. Welcome to your April 2024 tarot reading for money and career. I'm so curious what's going to come out. Libra, admittedly, this is the third time I'm attempting to conduct your reading. The first time it was cut short. The second time I did the reading, but it was very long and the energy was very... What I learned is that we're going to approach this month in a week-by-week fashion, because I think you're learning something about steps or fragments I'm hearing. So rather than being overwhelmed by like one big picture, one big plan, one big idea, or one big responsibility, there is a way to handle it, and it is breaking it down into little pieces, going step by step, working as the builder. So with careful strategy, careful planning, there is a way to get what you want, but we're going to approach this reading in a week-by-week fashion, differently from all the other signs, because I saw that, I could see that the energy in the month ahead, there was a need to clean your space. There was a need to feel less overwhelmed by the environment. So first, maybe like a thorough cleaning, getting rid of unfinished things or materials that maybe inspire guilt, where it's like, oh, I should be doing something with that, but I can't. Or, oh, that pile in the corner, it's still there and I feel so hopeless about it. It's tackling these things little bit by little bit and focusing first on the cleanliness or the organization. Really streamline your work, streamline your path, make it easy for you to get up and get to what you need to do, whether this involves meal prepping as well. Everything in your daily life is becoming easy to manage because you're just looking at it from a segmented perspective. And when it comes to money, when it comes to career, it's like, if I can just make this amount of money today, or if I can make this amount of money this week, like you have more of a short-term vision instead of one big long-term vision. Really taking it step by step will help you accomplish your goals. And it could be frustrating, but it's very important. For whatever reason it was coming through, it was very important to focus on that. And that being said, let us now look at your cards for the month of April. Libra, what is coming up in money and career for April of 2024? Love and compassion. I think Cancer had this as well. So compassion for yourself or compassion for another person. The ability to empathize, put yourself in somebody's shoes, or just have an emotional reaction to what they're dealing with or what you're dealing with, right? Compassion is, I see that you're struggling and I really care about that. That makes me feel something for you and it makes me want to help you. You need a hand, you need gentleness, you need understanding, you need unconditional acceptance. So having compassion for yourself, but not so much compassion where you negate your responsibilities. I'm hearing that strongly as well. It is important to maintain your responsibilities this month, but also have compassion for maybe how you had been feeling or acted in the past. But this seems to be giving a boost. The love frequency is giving you a boost. This is where you're attracting some new things to your experience. The love frequency, unity, consciousness, awareness that we are connected. A warming up. I'm seeing wax, softening. Well, I was gonna say, like, what is the biggest strength for you at this time astrologically? It is the solar eclipse. It is the solar eclipse. And didn't you have this in your love reading as well? I just did your love reading for April. So look at that, Libra. The solar eclipse on April 8th is in Aries. And, you know, look at where Aries is in your chart, but generally speaking, it falls in your partnership sector. So there's something about other people, your clients, your public, your contracts, the customers that you want to be in service to, people you could be working with. There's a lot of new opportunities coming in, I think around the 8th or shortly thereafter. So that is your greatest strength, that it's working in your favor, Libra. It is working in your favor. And it takes time for this to be revealed. It takes time for the answer to be revealed. So if you don't feel like something's right, sleep on it, let it sit for a couple of days, and the answer will come, just like I did with your reading. Libra, show me the first week of April, money, career for Libra. Page of Pentacles. It was like Libra needs such a refresh. Use different decks, get a different information, use different imagery. Just something different for Libra. First week. Okay, 7 of Pentacles. Wow. Okay, so the Page and the 7 of Pentacles. Learning a skill, right? Practicing, and then putting the finishing touches on something. Wanting to represent your best work. Producing something of quality. It's also like you're getting a little hint of something that is working. There's a little seedling that's grown, and it's time to evaluate how you're going to approach this further. You're going to look at your process, your progress, and go, what worked for this? What caused this to grow? And what stunted it? What stopped it? What did work? What didn't work? And how can I concentrate that into my next step so that I come up with an even bigger and better result in a more efficient way, potentially. But really take your time, because the first week is very much about experimentation. And financially, I think some of you are maybe seeing that something is working. You've maybe got a little bit of extra money. You could be thinking about investing, but I think this is really just about analyzing your process and looking at what is currently growing, currently working, currently attracting. I actually feel that the word currently is key, because money is currency. It's about the current, but that changes, right? The flow changes. So maybe what worked for you last month is not going to work for you this month. So really feeling, right? Love is more of a feeling into expansion. And the more that you tap into that, you can sense what feels good for you in that moment. And that kind of symbolizes what the collective or your community could be needing at that time. But something is working. You're hands-on, something is working, but something also isn't working. Something just doesn't, it seems to keep reaching a, like, I just can't get past this step. And maybe you just don't have the right setup. Maybe it's just not appropriate for this time. I think it's okay to have compassion for that, where it's like, oh, but I spent money on these supplies, or I put time into this course, or I've been working on this, therefore it should be showing results. But I think there's just a compassionate acceptance of something that just cannot work at this time, cannot go further. Now we're approaching the eclipse week, and I love that the cards are going to be touching that card as well. So second week, Libra, the eclipse, second week for money, career, Libra. Okay, we've got 3 cards. We've got the 5 of Wands. The High Priestess. It's very much about teaching and learning. Like, she's doing the spell, or she's learning it in a group, and then she's going off to practice it by herself. Oh, you've got 4. The 9 of Wands, Owen Wilson, and the Ferret. There's almost not enough room for all these folks. And the Ferret, okay. sorry, the Shay in this deck. Oh my goodness, I'm speaking Druidcraft. Okay. You're no longer giving your power away. You're no longer, there's this eclipse is sparking a big healing for you. Chiron is connected to this. There's a big healing of a deep wound that has to do with communication, community, connection, compassion, all of these C words that, you know, connect us to others, connect us to currency. It's important for you to really mind your own business. I think you're really focusing on your own power in the second week. When I say mind your own business, there's competition, there's people doing things their way. And I think you're also kind of looking at the past you and how the past you did things and what worked, what didn't. But the High Priestess and the Shay are the key elements here because they are minding their own business. They're in progress. Look at how they're both pouring things into their cauldrons. They're actively adding ingredients. So I think the lunar eclipse had an effect on you of disillusion, where you may have felt disconnected and maybe a loss of faith shortly after the eclipse. I feel like it was more after the eclipse. It was like it took some time for that frequency or those waves to hit you. And then there was a low point, and then all of a sudden we reach the solar eclipse and there's a new light, there's a new clarity, there's a new acceptance of self, a new confidence in self, and this curiosity about what else you can do, and like something that is really going to spark your interest, that you're going to want to sort of go away, separate yourself, and really explore, study, work with, craft, build. But speaking more of dissolution, alchemy, that's the first stage of alchemy, where you're going to be reduced to zero. You're going to be reduced to your essence, your core. And it's like you might be having a crisis of faith. You might be thinking that the world, not that the world is against you, but that the world doesn't care about you. And that's almost worse. And so it's like this indifference, this tangible indifference that you may be feeling. And it's like, hey, it's just me. What am I going to do? Now I'm motivated. I've got to take care of myself. So you go from feeling disconnected to suddenly turning your attention away from how the team is doing it or how other people might be doing it. There is something about learning. Again, this group practicing here, I always think of, I shouldn't say it, I'm sorry. You know that scene in Order of the Phoenix where they're all practicing, like, I mean, that's the whole point of the story, is studying magic, and I'm sorry to use a pop culture reference, but I think of that, and then they go and they practice on their own, kind of in secret. Like maybe you don't want somebody to know what you're working on because you have a goal in mind. There's something you're trying to defeat, accomplish, and I don't think that it's wise to let the opponent know exactly what you're working on. The High Priestess works alone. The Shay seems to be working alone. Even the Nine of Wands, like he's by himself. There's a looking over your shoulder, some kind of defensiveness, maybe running into somebody that you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe you end up working with them or you learn something from them. But I think this is just really about your past wounds that have been still informing your choices and how you feel about the world. And this can go way back to childhood, early development. This can be a recent breakup. There's a lot of ways that these wounds are telling your story, or at least coloring the pages. And you are, with the Shay, you're reworking all that. You're taking that color away, those images, that influence on your story, and you are putting the ingredients in. You are starting to retell your story. You're going to go through a transformation, and this is where you're going to start to grow your wings. You're going to start to feel like you're growing. Things are expanding, things are working, you're healing, you're accepting different new people are coming into your life, better people. You're just starting to attract new, better, upgrade, like things that are just better and healthier for you. There's such an influence. Amazing result that you're starting to feel. You can feel the evolution in the second week. Healing a wound, right? It's like the Five of Wands strength is built through tension. Strength is built through working on those muscles, right? First it hurts, second time it hurts, third time, I think I'm getting used to this. Okay, I think I can push myself a little further on the fourth time. You see how over time something starts to grow, but it doesn't happen immediately. So again, we're talking about these steps. You will build strength through this. It cannot get the better of you anymore, but it's important that you kind of mind your business or work by yourself and really connect to your inner world, perhaps even your dreams, in terms of what you want to create. Like, what inspires you? It seems to be something that you hear, something that you... So go back to that root, go back to that true place, that true place of inspiration. Is it your favorite piece of literature? Is it your favorite music? When you're listening to it or when you're reading it, it fills your mind with all these ideas, or there's a character you connect with. It seems like I'm hearing origin point for inspiration, and you're connecting to this again, hearing your own voice above all these others, hearing your own voice, and it's your own magic adding to this cauldron. Like, you can follow a book all you want. This is maybe why there was no growth. You can follow the formula all you want. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. The true to magic and creation is by adding your own desire element, your own vision, your own ideas. So you're not really following the rules exactly. You've got a skeleton, but this is where you can start to add your own vision, okay? Libra, third week of April. Another page of Wands. Look, practicing again. Now it's, okay, I've got the inner workings, but now I want to work on my message, or I want to work on the packaging. I want to work on the message. I want to work on expressing my voice. What can I do to amplify my voice? How can I be heard by more people, seen by more people? How can I clearly express to this company why they should hire me? How can I clearly express to this school why they should admit me? Why should I express to this person? I mean, maybe you're looking for love, but we're not focusing on that, are we? But this is where you're thinking about your brand, and I know that's what it is. It's like you're feeling good, you're dressing differently, you're starting to feel excited, and just make sure that you do your research, because something here clicks in the second week, but I think you still have to be careful in the third week, where you can't just rely on your magic alone. You do have to follow, like, you do have to do a bit of research, it seems. It's kind of like, I look at this card as like, you put on your button-up shirt and you don't really line up the buttons to the holes. You just assume that it's all right, and then you realize, it's misaligned. And then you have to do it all over again. Or I'm sure you've heard me say this, like, you wake up, the sun is shining, you're like, it's a beautiful day. I feel free, I'm inspired, I'm gonna follow my heart and go for a walk to my favorite shop, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get these supplies and come home and do this. And you walk all this way, and it's a beautiful day, and you watch the gardens grow, and you see the people on the street, and you're so uplifted and illuminated, but then the shop is closed. And you're like, well, I got a good walk out of it, I guess. It was a good exercise, but it was almost an exercise in futility, because I went on a feeling and I didn't really look up the facts first. I didn't make sure the store was open. So now I don't have what I need, and I've kind of wasted a day. But, you know, it's just a gentle warning. It's nothing too dire, too big. Really, the Page of Wands is like, I see him in a fancy scarf, and he's dressing beautifully and presenting himself, you know, taking pride in your appearance, having some fun with self-expression. and maybe something about a certain color that you wear that really aligns with you, a talisman. There's something that you want to don on your person as an expression of what you're feeling and what you're connecting with, because it really speaks to who you are, and it's about pride, it's about fun and self-expression. So you never know who you're going to meet when you're out there in the world as well. I think you really are making good impressions on people. And that Page of Wands is like, okay, I've really got to think carefully about my message here. What's my end goal and how am I going to get there? Like, how do I convey my message for my business, my thesis, my, you've got this like a logo or advertising. It's just about expanding the message, expanding your voice, amplifying your voice. Some of you may be working with a new tool, learning to do something like the same work, but just from a different approach with a different tool. I just feel like you're maybe a little bit bored with the old formula, and there's some magic coming in. The solar eclipse is going to be so illuminating and uplifting. One more card for the third week for Libra. King of Pentacles. I heard applying for funding, asking for a loan, talking about finances, really having to leave a good impression on this person. It's all of the positive things as an investor that they could possibly get out of it as well, which is your interest payments probably. But there's some talks about money, and this is the employer. This is the person with the money, the person with the resources, the person with access to what you need. So I think this is where you are maybe going for some interviews, or you get hired, or you get in, you get the job, you get the opportunity. This King of Pentacles has a lot to share, and he really likes the excitement and enthusiasm that you show. So I think you're going to get in, Libra. I think you're going to, something is clicking in that week. Okay. And maybe it takes to the third week. Well, that's why in the first week we're like, okay, it didn't quite work. What am I doing wrong? And then you're kind of comparing yourself to others in the second week. And then you get this like vision in a dream, or you connect to your intuition again, like, oh yeah, this is me. This is what I'm going for. Okay, it's clear. And then you see how that instant understanding, that transformation connects you to this King of Pentacles. Your money looks good. It's growing. There's so much potential to grow, and there's someone who wants to help you with that. Look at the fertility as well on these flowers, how they're all sticking out. They're going to, like, for fertilization, for spreading their influence. Okay, fourth week for Libra, money and career, fourth week of April, Taurus season now, fourth week, money, career, Libra, Three of Cups. A toast to you, congratulations, things are looking up, and the support of good friends. I think the joy of, like, whereas in the second week you were maybe overpowered or distracted by the voices of others, you really had to find your own voice in the third week. And now in the fourth week, there's music, there's harmony, we're using our voices together and in chorus. So we're not overpowering anybody, we are working together. So like all these components working harmoniously. Absolutely a congratulations. There's a celebration there. Some of you could be attending a wedding, but I don't know if there's maybe a person you meet, an opportunity, but there's a celebration. There's a reason to be happy. And I think if you get a new job, you could be getting along with your coworkers. Show me one more card for the last week of April for Libra, money and career. Libra, money, career. The moon. Oh, interesting. The third week here, my friends, when we talked about that instrument, like a lightning rod that's going to conduct that energy down to you, the Jupiter and Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on the 20th of April, this is, you're getting a boost. That's bringing some kind of boost to you. You're a lightning rod. I see the Page of Wands as like an antenna or a microphone, something that connects to electricity. So this is really interesting that this has come through. It just occurred to me. When I saw the moon, I was like, wait a minute. There's something going on in the sky. Oh, yes. So it looks like it's affecting you positively, which is good because it's going to have different effects on everybody. But there's something clicking finally. Third week it's clicking. Okay, so you have the Three of Cups with the moon. This is music. This is the support of friends. The inspiration from music, or like the movement of music, the emotion, the flow, being inspired by something like that. Maybe you work better when you can listen to music, or a lot of you, this is directly involved, creating your own, singing, playing instruments. This just feels like a beautiful nighttime celebration, perhaps under that Scorpio full moon. There's a lot of illumination this month, and wondering and mystery and creativity, but also having to remember your own voice, despite how well you fit in with the others, despite how harmoniously they all work. There's a need to really remember that you are an individual and that you do have your own voice, and that you don't have to get completely lost in the sound of others. There is potential for that. There is potential for that. It almost feels like, I'm sorry, I'm getting a feeling like, I don't know, the moon, is there potentially an interruption to the jovial spirit where you're still like, a lot of this stuff could still be lingering, or there just feels like you're like, yeah, we're celebrating, but do you really, I don't know, you might, let's get you one more card of advice for how to deal with this. Do you have, yeah, Five of Cups. Do you have to change yourself to fit in somewhere? There could be like once you accept an opportunity, a new one comes up and you're kind of going, you're just like a little bit in your feelings at the end of the month. There is great happiness, but maybe that great rise up also creates an awareness of its opposite feeling. Don't guilt yourself though. Maybe it's like, I could have been doing this all along, or goodness, I wish I'd done this sooner. Like, I just feel like you're kind of, there's some comparison happening in the last week where you're looking at like, it's working, but I could have done it sooner, or I could have done, you know, there's just a bit of comparison, but let's keep the energy up. Let's keep it happy. You're learning to find your voice in the last 2 weeks. And you're learning that you have your own cycles and you have your own different sides. But there is something underneath that always interests you and moves you. So connect more to that. Connect to that true original place of what moves you. What about it? What moves you? So I'm going to leave that there, Libra. It looks like a beautiful month. Things are turning around. I hope you have a wonderful month. And if you would like a personal reading with me, my website is below. It's queenofpentacles.ca.